Good morning, y'all. Welcome to Coffee with Connect. We get together on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 9:30. We get into God's Word together. We have our coffee together, and my mug is a new mug from Cedar Point, from the ride Val Raven, which is my wife's favorite coaster. And interestingly enough, today is our wedding anniversary. Today is our 19th wedding anniversary, so happy anniversary, babe. And it's just seemed appropriate for me to use this mug, and it's got her name on it because, well, some of her name, because it says Val. But her full name is Valerie. She prefers Valerie, but most of us call her Val. Sorry. And so as we get into our study today of Pray, Read, Think, Write, Do, there's some aspects of marriage that I want to talk about today. We're going to be in Galatians chapter 5, verses 13 through 15. And if you read this whole chapter, you may wonder, why is he talking about marriage with us today? But there's some aspects of that underneath here. As we go through our 5-step process, I hope that you'll pray and ask God to show you something in the reading of his word today. Whether you're married or not, this is going to apply to you. So let's read together Galatians chapter 5, verses 13 through 15 says this: "For you have been called to live in freedom, my brothers and sisters, but don't use your freedom to satisfy your sinful nature. Instead, use your freedom to serve one another in love. For the whole law can be summed up in this one command: love your neighbor as yourself. But if you're always biting and devouring one another, watch out. Beware of destroying one another." And that's really applicable there, that these couple of verses in many ways, not only in what's going on in our city and in our country and our community and all of that, but even what can and will potentially happen even within relationships that we have if we're not careful. This whole chapter is really about walking in truth, and I would encourage you to read the whole chapter. But it's really, as I'm thinking about that, he's basically saying, don't justify your sin or your failures, which we love to do, don't we? We're great at pointing out other people's failures and sin, and then we justify our own. Instead, we need to be loving, understanding, humble, serving one another. As it says here, that's actually the practical step. And I'm jumping ahead just a little bit to the do portion of this, but if you think about what he's saying here, the practical step to battling your sinful nature and your desires is serving and loving others. It's doing the opposite in many ways of what our sinful nature pulls us toward. It gravitates us towards selfishness, and Jesus is saying you battle that with unselfishness. And when you add the context of marriage to that, which I can't help but be thinking about today, you add that in with this in a marriage relationship. This stuff should be there anyway. This stuff should be there anyway. More loving, more understanding, more forgiving, more serving the other. I'm so thankful that when I think about my wife and I think about our relationship, that these are the qualities that I think of. This is how she treats me, and I hope that she feels the same. And so what about you? What can you write down here as you're thinking about this that applies to, as I've kind of said, a few different things? What can you write down that stands out that would help you moving forward? And what do we do? Well, as I said, I jumped ahead a little bit, but he talks about the great command. The whole law can be summed up in this one command: love your neighbor as yourself. The great command: love God, love people. And so if we don't do that, what happens? The stuff we're seeing in our city, the stuff we're seeing in our community, in our world, and around the world, that's destroying, as it says here at the end. If you're always biting and devouring one another, watch out, beware of destroying one another. And so we should love our neighbors ourselves. And so here's the question: who's your neighbor? Everybody. Everybody. See, we battle sin. We battle all of those things with the love of Jesus. Period. So thanks for joining me, and I hope that you'll like the video, subscribe to the channel. Happy anniversary, babe. Love you. Join me again next time so we can have our coffee and connect to Christ's community purpose and God's word together.